All right, guys. I'm just going to check if you guys are logging in. There have been a flurry of activities, and I've asked a bunch of my colleagues also to join, so they'll be joining in and out. And the whole idea is actually to do straight, Q&A. I'll just give you a bit of a walkthrough into our platform. And once that is sort of taken care of, I'm just checking on my phone, so just making sure that you guys are also out here. And see that, yes, we are online. Seems to be going well. All right. And we'll just see if you guys are able to find time to log in. So I'll just sort of keep it very brief, hoping that you guys sort of get a bit of a perspective on what we are going to be doing. Hey, Andrew, welcome from London. Infinity Data Science, awesome. Hi, Ali. I'm just going to kind of keep also showing you guys. So I want this to be a conversational sort of chat, not anymore. We have done some wonderful workshops, and there are a lot of awesome workshops coming. The whole idea of, hey, Richard, nice to see you as well. The whole idea of this actually little discussion or a Q&A already with you guys is to address all the sort of anxieties and questions and things that you've been asking us, asking me, asking our team. And I want to sort of put everything on the table and answer your questions. And that's the whole idea, actually. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a perspective of who else is joining. Hi, Ram. Question from Dubai. Wonderful. Rohit Kumar, wonderful. Happy to have you guys here. So I'll just, I don't know how many people. So there are already 37 people, at least on LinkedIn, and a handful of people on YouTube. What I'm going to do is I'm going to already dive in to give you a full walkthrough, a full sort of a walkthrough into this whole platform. And while I'm giving a walkthrough, I'm obviously telling you about the vision, why we started this, what is our goal to do this. And I see Sushant is already here as well. So Sushant is already here. I hope your mic is working, Sushant.
Yeah, hello everyone. Can you hear me?
Just raise a hand, you guys, if you hear Sushant. I can hear you, so that's working perfectly well. So there are actually, the first is giving you a walkthrough of the platform, what we're doing. Second, to make it interactive, hi, Ishan from New Delhi. To give you, while I'm giving you a walkthrough, I'm kind of providing you a bit of a perspective of our vision, our mission, and what are sort of, these professionals and entrepreneurs and already sort of proven, credible entrepreneurs like Sushant, Suhas. There's another very smart entrepreneur who's from IIT Kharagpur right now, PhD candidate, is joining in the next couple of days. They're all sort of people have done stuff. So why are we bringing young people? Yesterday I was having this conversation at the university. I don't know, Sushant, I saw you actually log in, but somehow it didn't work out. What happened?
Yeah, I just logged in and I was just able to see you guys having a good time, and you guys were in there was some group activity that was going on.
Yeah. It was. And I was speaking, so I was like, I know, I mean, halfway through the workshop, I said, okay, so I have Sushant, and I said, he's around your age group. And there was this one girl, she was like, what? He's from our age group? I said, yeah, I mean, so what has he done? So I said, well, he's sort of worked on a startup, he built this company, and he sort of, exited this company into a larger company. And they were like, oh, really? So they kind of thought that I was kidding. But by the time I think you had left. But I think the message is pretty clear for all of the audience here in this, that we are into hands-on stuff. We are not into theoretical sort of conversations, not business kind of conversations. Obviously, we understand that the reason for IT to succeed is to become an enabler for business. But we want to sort of help you dive into this practice to become a practitioner. in your field. So what I'm going to do is I'll just quickly share with you guys. For many of you have been asking questions, so I want to answer all your questions, and we don't want to hide away or shy away from, embarrassing questions, because I don't believe there are any embarrassing questions in this world. I've had personal emails from all of you reaching out to me, many of you. Some of you have been asked to take salary cuts. Some of you have been actually asked to resign, and you're really losing your job. Many of you we have onboarded already. We have provided the COVID relief to make sure that we are looking and listening to you, because we are in the same sort of ecosystem. We are not sort of pretending that we are somewhere from Mars, and somehow we are gonna kind of just ignore what's happening with you. So what I'm going to try to do is share the screen. Let me just see if it's going to work. Application window, Chrome tab. Oh, here. So there. So while I'm talking, you guys can hear me sort of, the whole idea. And that's why I think there is, if you, on top of this browser, you will see a COVID relief form dropping. You can already fill up that form and tell us about yourself. It could be that you're really looking to do this program, but you just don't have the funds, or you have limited funds. We will provide support for you, so don't worry about it. We want to be there for you, specifically you, because you are the ones who are coming on the other edge, and we want you to be helping you making winners. I don't want to reveal too much, but we have already identified some of you who are in the difficult spot, and we are trying to fix already an awesome data science job with one of our partner companies. But I prefer to sort of, prove than talk. So we will reveal that in the next couple of weeks. The program itself is awesome. I mean, the whole idea of this experience with live and making it live is, talking to people like Sushant, who are, taking time out of their very important work with the companies that they are currently sort of, helping retrofit into the bigger companies that they've sold to, is to actually share this important, let's say, the formula of success by helping you do it yourself. That's what the live experience is all about. For those who feel, oh, I don't know what's going on, I don't know how this course is, you can also sort of take this assessment. When you kickstart the assessment, it has a flow, and it gives you all the perspectives of what you want to do. And believe it, this is no sale exercise. If you cannot do this, you just cannot do this. As simple as that. But we're trying to do everything to make it possible for you guys to understand what's going on. So the first program that we have launched is Applied AI Essentials, that I have been sort of training people around the world for the last few years, and it has been very successful. People keep onboarding and take their learnings and apply it into their own job. So, and here you also have a chat here, for example. You can also ask questions, and me and my team, we have this HubSpot on my cell phone. So basically, I can always answer. I'll personally answer. So there's no kind of a robot sitting behind answering a question. So that's going to be me or someone else. The projects that we are expanding dramatically, actually, overwhelmingly dramatically, are in Hive. So Hive is actually the ultimate sort of stepping stone once you have done our training. And I will go through the course walkthrough, so you'll get to know what I mean. And we'll be expanding into various industries. So you have healthcare, you have climate, we already have projects ready. Energy has been a very successful and an award-winning program that is also moving into some really large sort of customer programs. Obviously, neuroscience and depression and those kind of little interesting projects will come, which are very important in the society today, specifically when we are dealing with so many anxieties around the world. Young, middle-aged, older people, all kinds of people are struggling. So we believe that that's very important from the perspective of AI. What can we understand? This thing will be filling up with more industry domains like ethics. You're going to have agriculture. You've seen us share some really interesting things. Then we're going to also move into social sciences in a lot of interesting and diverse areas. Human resources / labor market projects. A lot of interesting things are going to be coming here. So that's just to give you a perspective. And we just kind of shared a few people, but if you want, you can click here on Meet Others. And this list is expanding. And we just shared on our Deep Kappa page just a few minutes ago some new people who I just mentioned a few names. So these people are also coming in. They're very, very hardworking, really exciting people for you to sort of work with. So these are all hands-on people. So all in all, I mean, when we say we're very proud to kind of say that, people don't talk about this because, it's a pride, and because it's experience in the real world. I mean, no matter, there might be a lot of skills and information available, but to bring this information into an experiential wave, you have to go through series of cycles of working with your customers and learning their pain points, providing painkillers as a solution. So with 5 decades and more of industry experience that I and my team has, we are looking into perspectives of not only taking a great idea, learning about some fundamentals, but how to apply these into industry vertical domains as robust and sustainable solutions. Because nobody pays for a PyTorch hack. No matter whichever tool that you're seeing on the internet, there could be some wrapper here, some plug here. When I talk to chief executive officers of company who manage 10 to 60 billion dollars worth of businesses, they are not asking me, can you provide me a hack, or who is that entrepreneur in Silicon Valley with his 2 million euro he's raised, because they know it takes time to build a business. They also know it takes time for you to buy that business and allow that solution to enter into your production. And these are the things that we have learned. So we know what it takes to actually bring a solution to the market. Raising capital with a nice, cool hack is easy. It makes sense. Yeah, and it's very sexy on social media to say I've raised 13 million. But those 13 million will burn. You will build a solution. And when the first time you reach into hopefully a place where there's an executive sitting who's had 30, 40 years of experience working and dealing with customers and vendors, you will find out that's where the first punch on the face comes. And when you take a bunch of punches, then you realize how the real world works. And this is what we are kind of bringing it all together in this experience. Some of us are young, obviously, so our mixture of industry skills and mixture of people with great knowledge and experience is what is bringing everything together. The next thing about live is, obviously, it's a live experience. So, besides these fancy, nice things that we've kind of put up on the website, all these things are conversations that are happening right now. For example, this is a conversation that is happening with our beta program that has concluded successfully. So that is like awesome kind of, I'm actually super excited because when we were talking, and me and my team, we were discussing like, okay, let's launch this. And I said, I mean, it makes total no sense to do this because first of all, the market is flooded like mad. Everybody's, talking about deep learning and machine learning data science. You're being, literally slapped all over the place on your face with all these Instagram ads and buy my course and look, I've made this nice visual. The reason why we still went ahead is because there was a lot of need for people to really, really understand how applied AI actually can help me become a domain expert and help me build my portfolio. Through these questions, it's making the questions that we went out to answer really, really sort of clear in our eyes. All these questions that we are being asked by our students and our learners and we answered in such wonderful ways actually is an unbelievable achievement already while we have completed this beta. So this milestone has been achieved, but the way that my team has answered questions is fascinating. So obviously you'll have a lot of questions to Sushant as well. I will give you this opportunity to also talk and ask. Do please ask these questions here already. And I will address your questions and will pose these questions to Sushant. So I can quickly take a look at it and see if Sushant has if you have any questions, and I will try to even address you. Swagat Sahu, good to have you here as well. So I was on a different browser, so I couldn't see the screen. Let me go back to this. So basically, the experience is personal. The guidance, like I said, you saw me yesterday saying again some things, and people said, "Oh, it's overfitting." We are not saying we're going to get you jobs. We're going to make sure that the jobs are going to say, "Wow, this guy's got real experience, and we need to work with these people." So what we believe is that the inherent message is to internalize your learning. that is more important than start promising you all kinds of things which probably in this today's world actually makes no sense at all. The difference between the one who's going to hold you from, shoulder to shoulder and get you prepared for a job versus having 50,000 mentor discussions and someone is giving you advice on improving your resume is different things. This is how you separate boys from men, and that's how you separate sort of juveniles from adults. And we want to bring you into adulthood of data science. And if it sounds a bit bold statement, so be it. I've seen 30 years in this industry and I know how it works. So, and at the same time, we want to be sort of humble because we realize that the market is changing, ecosystems are coming in place, and younger generation is also kind of providing a lot of knowledge. And so bringing all these things together makes us actually a solid sort of team. So this is I wanted to tell you. That's the whole purpose of this applied program. And obviously, there's like thousands of people. We could have asked, but obviously, this page would become crazy. All these have been my students. Some are PhD students. Some of you are managers. Some people have spent like 20, 30 years in industry. Some of you have also been professors at the university who have come up and sort of followed my program. We are extremely grateful and thankful that you guys actually saw value in what we did, because we really sweat our backsides to make things work. We really obsess like crazy. We have internal debates where we are yelling at each other to kind of sort of make things happen. So, I mean, it makes sense to kind of sort of say this as well, because in the back end, we are sort of very, very obsessed. So people walk into my office and they're like yelling at me like, why is it this way? Why aren't we fixing these things? Why aren't you talking to that person? You have to answer him personally. So all these things are really very, very personal. And that is super important. These are the milestones in the last 3.5 years. I'm super excited that, in all these beautiful countries in the US and South America, Canada, being in obviously all over Europe, Middle East and North Africa, India, obviously, China, so been all over the country, all over the world, and been able to kind of work with this. And the differentiation obviously is also here. It's very important to actually highlight this. This is not just some investor pitch. It's basically really is market relevant. And obviously the price is competitive. It's definitely competitive. We want to make sure that we make it available for everybody else. And we do expect you to work hard, probably even harder than the others in these other programs, in the boot camps. But the payoff is really huge. We do provide in different time zones support. So if you're in the US time zones, we're going to make sure that we have our live conversations like these in your time zone. And if you have in European time zones, that's going to help work as well. And if you're in the in India time zone, it's going to work, perfect, because our teams are distributed very well. And similarly, we pretty hands-on stuff we do, all, the hardcore sort of work that the industry asks us, we also try to put it into your hands and give you that. We cover all the fundamentals and the basic languages, but also try to help you learn about the modern languages when you're doing sort of application development and developing your solutions for your customers. It's not just doing some sort of statistical analysis and using Bayes' theorem or some cool autoregressive models. And no, we don't want you to just sit around and sort of get super excited about your nice and exciting little invention. We want you to actually bring it to a reproducibility state that can be shown to a potential buyer or a customer. So there are some really exciting things also in agriculture AI. We're going to be revealing by the end of December, where someone had asked me a question that, well, I'm sure agriculture AI, you're definitely not going to Nigeria. Well, let me just say that there's going to be a huge announcement by the end of December, where my team, which is Sushant and Suhas, are really, really kind of working to support an entrepreneurial team to do that. So those are the kind of things that is where applied AI makes sense, because you're applying it either in your own startup, if you're at university, and you could do two things. You could sort of spend insane amount of hours talking to people to get you a job, or you could say, well, while I am looking for my job, let me just start actually picking up a data set and actually start building a solution. That is the best way to kind of shine. And who knows, there's already probably some guy, some investor, and we'll help you as well to get you some seed funding, something to get started on your little project. So there's a lot of interesting things coming that way. obviously the most important thing is here as well, workshops. So Sushant, for example, was also here in the workshops, and these things will keep coming to kind of keep giving you a bit of a perspective of what is it that I need to learn. How do those things work? So for example, Babak, and by the way, today we made a lovely announcement. Babak's younger brother is also joining our research team. I'm super excited about it. And Babak has been a celebrated researcher in the industry. He's done some really, really awesome work. And if you want, just go down to these workshops, take a look how it looks like. And we have Merv. She's also part of our team. She's starting an explainable AI program. So lots and lots of exciting stuff happening. And our partnerships obviously is already expanding, super exciting. There's some new stuff coming in Singapore. Again, in the next couple of days, we'll let you know. So our sort of collaborations are also, our sponsorships are also moving. Imagine, I mean, like 3 weeks, LiveAI is not is barely beginning to walk. It's just not even able to tie its own diapers. And there's a lot of exciting things that are happening already where we are moving into larger communities and doing some fun stuff. But okay, a lot of sales pitch, and I'm sure you're saying, all right, okay, I think this is getting too boring. So let me just kind of quickly give you a perspective of the course, because I know you see all these snippets, but you just wonder, well, I don't get it. What's going on here? So here, basically, as you can see here, we move into various areas and sort of energy, healthcare, machine learning, neuroscience. These are the kind of topics, and our agriculture is going to be also in here. The materials that you actually need is you're going to have theory lectures from me and my team, primarily me. You will have guided notebooks. You will have sample codes and explanations. And like I just showed you in the chat, you keep asking questions, you keep getting answers. Lots of reference material, which is relevant, all relevant material. And some really, really cool data set that you haven't seen actually outside this course. So it's, like I said, it's the whole core is to do it this way. Make sure that it's personal. Make sure that you learn. It's very immersive. And obviously, if you're not building something out of it, then your learning is just theoretical. And you can click on these two things and try to understand. Still, if you're still confused, how do I benefit from this? Someone asked me yesterday, even today, okay, so can I already start my internship while doing this program? So just follow this and you'll get an idea of what I mean. The learning path is also, I've kind of described the whole learning path. So starting from the fundamentals, then we move into data visualizations and data analytics skills. Then we move into machine learning, then deep learning, and then then is applied AI is like this. So basically, those are the 5 levels, and I've explained them in great detail. In fact, the video, the little picture that you saw me painting on the website is one I made in Turkey when I was in a University of Bigli. And that's an American university collaboration. This was, I think, 2018, sometime in summer. And so I've been sketching this all around the world to kind of keep showing the plateau to plateau kind of growth path. And it's a labor of love. So we are trying to bring this all together to you in this format. Yeah, so the course, let's take a look at the course. I mean, here you get an introduction. So this is already, so what you're seeing here, by the way, is the cohort which is already filling up. And we're already sort of, we're having awesome conversations with the team. There's amazing diversity, and we're just so excited to get started on the 1st of November. You get to meet your instructors. We have all kinds of live sessions. And how it works is on a weekly basis. So Sundays are the days that I have live sessions with you. We set the stage, we set the expectations, and then we start the week. You can all sort of follow the program at your own pace. Some of you are fast or have more time. You can keep following the program at your own pace. The code walkthrough is available for you on each daily basis. You can keep asking questions if you have doubts and queries. You can challenge our sort of statements as well. In the end of each week, so halfway through the week, we set up again a bunch of live sessions to have a chat with you. Okay, so how's it going? And give you a little bit more sort of information based on what we've been gathering. So I'm just kind of sort of doing a temperature check actually halfway through the week. So once I have done the temperature check in this halfway of the week, then I know, I understand so how you guys are doing, because that's something very personal process. I cannot just kind of blindly sit and think, okay, there's some fancy videos and you download and all these notebooks will be taken care of, because there's a large community helping. It doesn't actually help, because there's always, you're looking for all hacks and people are cheating and answering all questions. We want to make sure that you hack your way through it, but you do learn. That's the most important thing. So that temperature check helps me sort of set the scene, and then we go through the end of the week. We complete the week. We do our best together with all of us, and we make sure that we answer and complete that graded assignment, which is at the end of the week. The graded assignment is actually a tool. It's a software tool that we are building. I won't go deep into it because obviously there's a lot of competition who's also really excited to know what we're doing. And we're actually going towards a software engineering sort of strategy, which I will not reveal any more than that. Just think of it this way, if you just still want some ideas. Social engagement or social learning is the future. And I've said that in many of my talks, even yesterday at the university. Now, what social learning basically means is, for example, if I was sitting next to Sushant, Sushant has some amazing skills which I don't have. I may have some skills which Sushant would say, well, I think it would be interesting to kind of sort of, learn that. The only way we learn from each other is by me sort of sitting next to Sushant, just like in high school when we have that, and just kind of seeing him how he's working. And okay, that's what he does. And then somehow he refers to something. So his, let's say his sort of knowledge base, which he has is in his brain, in his ecosystem. I try to kind of start learning from it. And it's very difficult to bring these techniques online because if someone had solved these problems already, I think that would have been a gold mine for universities, right? It's a gold mine for even other companies like Udacity or other sort of Coursera platforms, because that means you are actually increasing your percentage of true learners versus false learners. So it's like a true positive, false positive, if you were doing a precision and recall metric on a data science. But I think really true learners is the ones for sure. I don't have to worry about him. I mean, just as an example, and I'm again using Sushant's example. I know maybe, I just like the way he's so awesome with his brain. But just as an example, let's say Sushant's high school teacher and his university professor in IIT Bombay, they already know that he's a true learner. So they know that he's set for life. And once you have that, an ideal situation for a university would be to see 20, 30, 40%, forget about 80%. Even if it's 20, 30, or 40% of your student or a learner population has reached that true learner status, meaning they are set for life, I think he'll be fine. It doesn't matter even if he takes 1 year off. This guy's, he's on stratosphere. And imagine if we can bring this level of education to a lot of people. Your skill sets would shine because your brain has literally kind of understood how to make those things happen. And sure, it takes years to do that. Some people have this, a 10,000 hour rule. So, that it takes 10,000 hours to become a great guitarist or a great learner. We believe that a social engagement platform will allow your learning to sort of, take leaps and bounds. So there's some software tools that we are integrating together. And I think that is going to make this a very, very fascinating product that's going to be coming in the next year. This also helps us drop the price down dramatically, making sure that the learning and the true learner versus the false learner kind of ratio grows disproportionately in favor of the true learner. So that is something we have some tools in place, some product development going on, but I won't go deeper into that than just what I just told you. Anyways, so the week one, how we are going to be working. So this is our first program. There are going to be many programs coming. So week one is about basics. So we drop you into sort of, give you a perspective of what are the fundamentals and the essentials that you really need to know. Not everything, not all these, giving you mundane programming projects in Python. Not in this essentials in any case, but everything is going to be market relevant. So we're going to keep going and keep giving you sort of important sort of information, so you know what is happening, what I should be learning versus, oh God, I mean, like there are like 10,000 books out there, and you celebrate with each new book, but you're thinking, oh my God, there's another new book I have to look at. So that is the first week, and the similar exercise, remember. So Sunday I start, halfway through the week, we have an exciting conversation. So we are always in touch with each other, and end of the week, we do a graded assignment. And then boom, we go to the next week and do the same iteration. So the second week is machine learning. You're building your first application already on machine learning. My colleague, also a management team member, Dr. Tarry Team, she's going to be there helping you. In this first week, we have Dr. May. She's going to be helping you. and she's sort of owning this program. But obviously, I'm all the time around. And here you're going to go through the basics, but also the most essentials of machine learning. And then you're going to talk about classification models, learn about supervised and unsupervised learning. Also go into understanding what the programming languages are like. I said, remember the model languages. So we're going to look into web frameworks and kind of develop eventually at the end, we develop a product out of this or a solution. Week 3 is something which we beta tested with the students already. So we got some awesome feedback. In the week 3, we actually go deeper into 2 important things, which is computer vision and language models. So the computer vision is convolution neural networks and all the other related sort of techniques around it, like transfer learning and a bunch of other exciting things. And then we go into language models and go in depth and trying to understand the language model in that specific week. And then do the same iteration of start the week on a Sunday, go halfway, have a conversation, set up a live chat, and all this stuff is being sort of fed back into the system. So you keep getting this information, and in the end of the week, you do a graded assignment. And then we come to this section, which is going to be where our colleagues like Sushant and Suhas and all the other sort of folks are going to help you shine. And here this is where the tire hits the road, the running. What this means is a typical Hive project is going to make sure that you're actually taking a customer assignment. We're going to create a statement of work as if you were actually working with a client. We're going to make sure that you will address those questions, understand those questions. We will make sure that you're given all the tools so you can get started. But eventually, we want you to actually jump on specific cases. So you could pick up healthcare, someone would pick up agriculture, the other one would pick up neuroscience, and someone would like to do energy, depending on the domains that you're super excited about. And then you get 2 weeks to actually work on it, build a solution, and we continue to keep supporting you. And you come back and actually you're answering and presenting your case, and maybe you could go wild as you want. You could kind of present your case as much as you want, and kind of make a nice successful Hive project out of it. So here, the whole team is going to be here, and then we typically, in an ideal situation, we would like you to conclude this in 5 weeks. For candidates who are not able to conclude it in 5 weeks, you shouldn't don't panic. We allow you to another additional 3 months to actually do this. So having said that, I'm sure I missed out a lot of things, but these are the essential things that I have sort of explained. I would like to actually sort of do a bit of a Q&A with Sushant together with you, and I'll ask Sushant as well on a few questions. But I'm more and keen to understand from your perspective. So you can find Sushant here as well, and we're adding more folks into our sort of program. All these people are sort of amazing people, have done a lot of awesome work already, and more people are coming into our team. So we're really amazingly, we're super excited about this. So having said that, let's see if you have questions, because obviously that's why we opened up this session. So I know I spent like 30 minutes talking about it. I thought it was important to address it, but I'm more than happy to take questions. I'll sort of unshare the screen, and let's see if you have any questions. And maybe Sushant can also kind of answer these. But while I'm addressing sort of sharing your hellos and highs, I also probably want to ask Sushant. So, I mean, okay, let's do something really radical. Typically it's like everybody's saying like, yeah, it's awesome, everybody's dancing. So Sushant, what are the things that you think we should be doing more, which we are not doing yet?
With regards to building stuff?
Yeah, but also, what is it that the people need to be learning? Because we don't want to build yet another sort of similar program, because then we lose sight of the real focus. So what is it that we should keep doing or should be doing in order to continue to provide this very personal, very applied sort of learning, so people can actually do something with what they learn?
Yeah. So like I'll share my experience. So like when you go through theoretical material, you do not understand a lot of things, but when you actually kind of go through, so that's the best thing about Python. It's a notebook. Like you can do it right out of browsers. And when you actually do the stuff, then you get that sense of creation, and that's the feeling that actually stays. When you actually do stuff, it sticks around rather than if you just read about it. So that's how actually I started as well. I actually started playing stuff, and then over time, as you try to understand stuff, and then you can just keep digging in deeper because you're actually enjoying the stuff. So when you read it like that, it actually stays with you a lot longer. And one of the things that I've actually figured is you don't need to make things perfect. You just need to make something out there. Like doing something and putting it out there is much more important than actually perfecting something. So yeah, towards the end, it's just about don't worry about putting stuff out there just because people might actually criticize it. Um, this is what had stopped me for quite some time. But then once you overcome that fear, once you know that you can just build it rather than putting it off until unless you learn it perfectly, is something that I feel you should not do.
And from your perspective, because I've given a lecture at IIT Mumbai, I was really very fascinated. I gave the lecture to electrical engineering students. So this was in 2018, in August. So I want to understand, and so I was meeting a few. I think there was a professor, Amit Sethi. I think he just joined a few years ago, and he's running this really cool lab called MEDAL, or medical lab or something like that. So in your time when you were there in IIT Mumbai, what were the things, was still deep or machine learning or all these things still being sort of used or being savvy?
No, I don't think. Like I graduated in 2014. I think machine learning was still like that. There was this Andrew Ng thing that was quite popular on Coursera.
Yeah.
I don't think. Besides that, there was so much of craze about it. And like for me, the thing that kicked off this machine learning thing was the AlphaGo, where you
Yeah, yeah,
actually
yeah.
called it in gaming. So that's where I felt, oh, a machine could actually beat someone at a game of Go, and that kind of just like just interested me in things like OpenAI and then DeepMind, and then I just kept reading more and more research papers that they used to publish and whatever. So they publish a lot of repositories on GitHub. You should just play around with it, and you should just keep figuring stuff out. Follow them on Twitter, because people who are doing the actual stuff, you should always try to stay in touch with them, because they will keep like whenever they create something, they'll actually publish it in their social channels and stuff, and you actually stay updated. So that's how I started with Twitter as well, and that's how I came across different language models, and then I just found it interesting, and then I started building stuff on it. So, so
Cool.
yeah, I think it caught up around 2016. But during my time in college, I don't think there was a lot of craze around ML like
Yeah,
it is right now.
yeah. Yeah, I know. I think 2010 they had released a machine learning course in Stanford, and that's what they started teaching the computer science class. And Andrew, I think in that time Coursera was established, or and so it was a great way for sort of this platform to, and it popularized Coursera's sort of platform as well, because there were lots of these standard courses.
Yeah,
But when people started bringing coding and sort of notebooks and applications and
yeah,
implementations, this whole ecosystem exploded. Indeed,
yeah.
yeah, totally agree. So there is, I think there are some questions maybe I can answer, but I think maybe Sushant can also help you answer. Maybe from your own personal experience, maybe that makes more sense. Let me just start the question answering, and maybe I'll let Sushant answer this question. Um, so basically, if once you've done this program, it also gives a visibility. We know, because we are also kind of trying to see how and where you fit. So we always look on a case-by-case basis where, is there an internal project where we can look at a learner that has done exceptionally well or really well. So, and definitely, I am all in favor of giving you work experience for sure. So for some strange reason, if you do not have a domain sort of preference or interest which we don't focus on, I don't know, it could be something like, let's say a simple example, a supply chain, or maybe you're a procurement expert. we always try to look through the eyes of machine or deep learning, and we will say, well, if we can get a data set of, let's say, contracting papers and documents, which your legal or these departments use. So we do our best to give you a work experience based on the domain area that that you want to specialize in. But it's very important to see the fit. Actually, that's very important. And obviously, because we're having conversation on a daily basis, if it doesn't work with us, we will make sure that we are going to sort of help you based on where your sort of preference is, find you some answer. So while I'm making this already a forward-looking statement, will a lot depend on you as well to ask the questions to us. And yeah, I don't know if courses help people get work experience, and that's why we started LiveAI, because actually I don't believe that courses in themselves are any guarantee for you to get work experience. Unfortunately, that is not true, because no matter, even if you've done, I've seen many people done Udacity, robotics and all other courses like nano degrees. But the thing is, like I said in the beginning, guys, I mean, this is reality. And I'm sure many of my connects are here on LinkedIn. These people manage, 10 to 50 billion euro business. And I'm sure, some of them are watching as well. And they know how reality is. I think the most important thing is to be able to find a practical implementation and be able to actually convert the learning in your course applied, and then trying to provide some kind of a solution or like a product or even an MVP. And that is why we are trying to close each program in the end to push you to actually do something to build a solution, because that will take you really far. That's all I can say. I don't know what, Sushant, how you think about it.
Yeah, definitely. Like once you have done the course, you can actually go ahead and try something that we already have, or if you have something in mind, probably it could be games, it could be anything. I think we just went off. Yeah, so it could be games. Like I
wow,
found
this looks
a lot
good.
of
Your background is like
yeah.
now the focus is really on you, which is cool.
Yeah. So like initially when I learned something, I used to apply it, say for Rubik's cube. Like I wanted to solve Rubik's cube from using reinforcement learning algorithms. Then I really like trading a lot, so I tried to apply those things, whatever I learned, probably do some kind of like just to see like how would it work on the time series of like trading. And then I also enjoy a lot of games, so I just try to see if we can apply those to games and all. So you can always keep looking at ways in which you can apply the things that you've learned, because that kind of solidifies, because you actually enjoy solving a problem that you actually enjoy. Then you actually learn much more and under much greater depth, and you don't have to memorize stuff. You just kind of connect with the stuff.
Yeah, the next question is, I'm seeing here, I cannot show your name on the app, but it's Ayush Adhikari. Your question was any unique topics that other specializations don't have. I think the uniqueness is in this, like I said, this social engagement, this personal sort of, conversation, one-on-one conversation with us, the ones who have developed this program for you, and helping you, actually pushing you really to kind of bring it to completion. And because we are small, and that's why we want to focus on just a handful of small groups of sort of cohorts, and not go and start selling like 10,000, then becomes a very commercially driven motive, which is not what we wanted to do. So first of all, we don't want to drive volumes of people until we have found a solution that helps everyone to learn in the most effective way. And the uniqueness also lies obviously in the projects that are different from how other industry vertical projects people probably might try to push in boot camps, although they are also equally interesting, by the way. I don't want to kind of, there are many boot camps that can be very useful. The only thing is here, since in the Corona period, we brought all the tools together that allows you to actually do these projects in full totality, and the learning experience is very unique. So the uniqueness is that one is personal. It's you will immerse yourself deeply into a domain. You will also understand the specific domain of machine or deep learning, be it computer vision, be it language models, anything else. And that is where we think our program is definitely different. We know it's different because we're getting feedback from people. I'm not saying it myself. I just, like I said at the beginning, I was overwhelmed with the kind of response we were getting from the learners. They were saying this is actually really cool. and they've been asking questions and getting answers. So that is really helpful. But I guess we'll see how it works, and we want to get you. I mean, if you get on board, let us know what you think, and we'll definitely give you answers to that. Let's see. Okay, maybe Sushant would like to answer because he's working really hard on the Hive programs at the back end.
Required to do in the weekend project. Definitely. So there'll be a lot of coding involved. Don't worry about that. We are actually gonna deploy stuff. We are actually gonna go ahead and make sure that it's ready for production, that people can actually go and use it. And these things, like these things, may sound a lot complex, but once you learn the right way to do it, you will be able to, like, whenever you have an idea, you'll be actually able to go ahead and just go ahead and make production ready stuff. Because initially I struggled a lot with these kind of stuff, because I used to make stuff but I never used to put it out into production. But then over time I just figured ways in which probably that part became really simplified. You just code in such a structured manner that right from line 1 you are writing code that is production ready.
Yeah.
So yeah, so these things probably I may have learned like probably building over time, but then like it's good to know from other people's experience that because these are very small things, but then it just takes time to figure these things out. And once you know them, and you'll feel deploying code is like a breeze. You can just deploy your stuff for public in just like one line of command line, and you can just push it.
Yeah.
It'll be live within seconds.
Perfect. Similar also to my experience, Akshay, back in the days, I totally agree with you. 10, 15 years ago, writing huge sort of, lines of code, putting them all into ETL batches and pushing them into test. And then, from first development, then test, and then moving to staging, and then moving into production. I think now with the packaging and how release management is done in production environments has also improved. And that is where we will also be introducing, and me, Sushant, Suhas, and our own sort of, programs with energy and earth sciences. We are building also our own pipelines that allows us to actually write once and deploy everywhere. So obviously starting with your own pipeline, then your focus will not be, because eventually, let's say, for example, you're building your software, you just call it software, or your machine learning model. So you have all these helper functions. So you just say, okay, helper function 1, helper function 2. All these are sort of, Python files. You just don't have to revisit them. They will have some operating system functions like, shell script, all these things that you have to actually do, like, spend hours actually sort of, organizing the information. A simple example, like, let's say you have like 20,000 images. And we discussed that, well, first of all, we need to resize these images. Well, we don't think these images are great. We need to actually slice them, or we need to do some kind of simple operations of flipping the image to do some augmentation. So all these simple operations are done on a Linux or even Windows platforms. And then basically what you're doing is, if the batch of images keeps coming into your model, because I'm assuming that it's a real-time solution the industry will use, then all these things of sort of sorting, pre-processing, augmentation, etc., is taken care of in these helper functions. So it kind of becomes a stepwise process. Then you always kind of get a perspective of almost like a factory process, in which you literally imagine yourself, in let's say in a beer factory, when you see all these beer bottles coming from all these different sort of lanes and being packaged. This is how your software is. But the thing is, because all these bottles, let's say I'll use Heineken as an example, because that's what we see a lot in examples. You'll see these bottles and you kind of see that they're all green. Then you stop worrying about, oh my God, I have to do 20 things. You all realize that it's about the path and the pipelines that I have to focus on. So for example, I work for a consulting company, and this is pretty interesting for some of you to know. Maybe, okay, this is really cool example, actually. I didn't even think, it just struck into my brain right now. So I used to work for a strategy consulting firm called PA Consulting. Wonderful, wonderful firm. We had a research arm in Cambridge. So it was one of the very few research consulting companies McKinsey also has bought one research actually company just because they used to look at our model. So in that process, we used to look at the beer bottles, and the manufacturing process of the beer bottles had to be optimized. Now, what happens is this: so you have this a metal or a brass sort of cap on the beer bottle, right? So think in terms of your optimization algorithm in machine learning. So I'll just give you a physical example. So what happens is, so the bottle is coming. So the bottle there's an empty bottle coming like this, right? So the empty bottle comes, then the beer is being poured into it, and then the robotic arm is going to come, put that metal cap, turn it around, and close it, and then it goes into a different stream. And then this is let's say your first machine learning model is doing the simple 3-step operation. Bring the bottle, pour beer, and close the cap, and it's ready for shipment. Now, there's a problem in this model, and this is what our researchers found. This is, I don't know, this is 2013 or something timeframe. So they found that what happens is the friction when the metal cap on this glass surface, this friction leads to small particles, minute particles of glass falling into the beer. Now, from a Food and Drug Enforcement Agency, this is disaster. You cannot make that happen. So then you need to optimize your algorithm. Just think of it this way. So, and I guess there is a robotic sort of, a planning algorithm in your robotic process, in this manufacturing process. So what we proposed was this. So the bottle comes, beer is being poured in, and we have to look at the probability of the number of the bottles out of these millions of bottles that are being created, and how many of these bottles will have those tiny, minuscule pieces of glass in it, because the ones that have the glass in it are the ones we should definitely not have into our production pipeline, right? So what we do, we take the bottle, and then we constantly give these, twist the bottle a little bit, so a little bit, maybe 10, 15 degrees angle, and turn them around to see when, the liquid moves, and there you're able to see those particles also move and identify that. Now, I think you could use a computer vision with really cool image resolution technique online in real time to identify, spot the glass particles to the minutest level. The one that has miniaturized glass particles, you put them out of the production line. So when you start looking and building your machine learning models from a perspective of improving and optimizing your production pipeline, all these anxieties about writing complex code goes away, because you're actually literally you're literally talking to a system. What if, okay, if this particular algorithm halfway through is able to identify the minute glass pieces that are inside that beer, once I had tilted this bottle to an angle of 15 degrees, then send it to a different, you'd send it to a defect or send it for destruction. So what happens is, so you're constantly optimizing your models. Now, these are real world projects. And back in the day, obviously, they were very complex and very difficult algorithms that we proposed. My colleagues proposed in the research lab back then. But these are the things that machine and deep learning is going to be optimizing. So it's amazing. I mean, I still remember the name of this fantastic colleague here in the Netherlands. His name is Rogier. He had actually told me about this because he was very proud of this solution. And I looked at it very intently because I was like fascinated. So I was totally not at all worried about how it is done technically. And that is actually, Akshay, is where you will start really enjoying your learning. And probably maybe there's another question I would like to answer to that, which, let's see, Diogo has asked. Now, Diogo, this is exactly what we mean. So we are totally not interested in doing boring stuff, because if you want to learn, what is precision or recall values, if you already know it, you're great, you're good to go. But we are not at all. We are actually giving you a fast track. And intermediary and advanced is where definitely we want everybody to move. So our programs are fundamentally built for you to pick up the essentials and actually spend as much as time on your Hive projects. So if you're interested in working with us, I will be talking to industry leaders also, reaching out to all my business contacts because they all are running into these problems. Some want to do satellite imagery to understand where do I find innovative projects where people are using, let's say, hydrogen technology or green energy technology happening. Is there a way to find out? I think you could use satellite imagery to actually start identifying, because they have a manufacturing process in place, which is very different from the traditional industry's manufacturing process. Once you have that in place, you can start making correlations. So in many cases, there's a lot of application of machine or deep learning where we can benefit a lot of it together. So I would suggest make sure that if you want to do boring stuff, do it at our competitors. Once you've learned the boring stuff, you can come here. But again, I mean, I think it's important. Yes, I agree with you, Diogo. It's important to focus on application, on applying it, but you should also realize that it is important to understand the fundamentals. Once you understand the fundamentals of these models, like I just explained about the beer bottle example, then you will be able to identify, how you have to do, for example, mask RCNN or some other technique to be able to just look at the surface of the beer bottle, carve it out in real time, maybe do some 3D sort of deep learning modeling on it, understand that the reflection, the light, and all the other things are not confusing your model to say, oh, that's glass particle versus that's reflection. So it's important to understand fundamentals, yes, but not the basics of, well, let me teach you matrix multiplication. So we definitely assume and we want to push each and every one from beginner all the way to an advanced journey. But if you're an intermediate, we definitely have a very interesting path for you. Cool. All right. So this, I don't know, Sukhmander, I was in a different, we were in the main building. There is a recording, but you need to check. I'll connect you with one of our, but you could have had a chance to actually talk to Sushant. But if you have any questions, Sukhmander, for Sushant, do let me know or ask us here. You're already in our Slack channel, I believe, so that should really help you as well. Cool. All right. So awesome. So happy that it gives you a bit of a perspective, Akshay. This sort of, business idea just came to my mind because of a project that was done by my colleagues a couple of years ago. And each and every business model is up for optimization, because each and every of these projects, and this is a particular project that I described about optimizing the production, manufacturing value chain for beer production, must have been more expensive operation. And with machine or deep learning, if you start optimizing and actually putting these codes into production, so you don't have humans looking at these sort of little glass particles, but have cameras sort of looking at various angles and providing you insights, you will see that they are more reliable than human eyes, because obviously we as humans can get exhausted and we lose sight, and that can be challenging. So optimization is really, really important to use. Awesome. So we've spent an hour. I would always ask Sushant to maybe close the talk with what is it that you maybe ask a question actually to Sushant. Sushant, what did you learn in the last week which you had not learned in all these sort of your previous experience? Anything new that you learned? Because learning is what makes it fun for us, right?
Yeah. So for me, it's always been learning and applying something somewhere, because when you actually put something out there, you actually feel that whatever you've made is actually out there and other people can interact with it. So over the last week, I had been working on a WhatsApp chatbot that that could actually interact with the people. So we have a lot of people coming on our website, and these people, we have a lot of salespeople as well, but then that assignment of a salesperson. So if someone is looking for a property, say in Mumbai or in Gurgaon, so that assignment part was what we wanted to do using machine, obviously, and we wanted more of a human interaction. When you're buying a house, it's like it's like one of the biggest thing that you'll ever buy with your money, right? And probably,
of course,
yeah, you want humans to be involved. But then that assignment part was something that we were struggling with. So what happens now is, whenever you come to a website, there's a chatbot. You just you just explain a few things to it, like where you're looking for a property and what kind of a property you're looking at, and then it'll automatically send you some suggestions, as well as will send you one of the people, one of our salespeople. So we have like 3,000 salespeople who are actually out there, and
Hmm.
it will assign you the one that's a good fit for you and who is in close proximity to you. And we'll also send you a contact card. So all these things, I never thought that a machine could actually send WhatsApp, because WhatsApp was something that was obviously always limited to a lot more human interaction for me, at least. SMS was more of an automated interaction for me. So this was something that was really challenging at first, because WhatsApp has a lot of things which you have to follow, because they do not want a lot of machine interaction with their users. And so that's why there were a lot of things that I learned putting the model into production, because there were a lot of key variables involved: interaction with my system, interaction with a third party that actually handled WhatsApp for us, then interacting with another party. So yeah, it was like a really good experience.
Awesome. Really, I think you're absolutely right. I think making large purchases, big decision, life decisions, it's important to seek advice beyond an automated solution for sure. But all these sort of peripheral tasks, they definitely need automation, because if there's a mundane task which has a very simple A to B trajectory, my first goal is to make sure that I cannot reduce the distance because it's a physical constraint, but I can speed up the path from A to B. And I think that is where it's really fascinating. So cool. So Sean, thank you for joining at such a short notice. Once again, it's been a very fun sort of experience to have you guys and also get to know Sushant a little bit more. You can always reach out to Sushant. He's super, super open. I have no idea how he finds so much time to help people. It's just, I think, pure passion, because he's so busy. And please reach out to us if there are any questions. We're more than happy to help you guys. Cool. Awesome. Thank you, Sushant. And thank you, everybody. God bless you all. Take care. Stay safe. And we'll see you guys again.